Hello and welcome back. You're watching WION The World, and this is World DNA with me, Josna Kumar. Let's begin with the headlines. Ukrainian authorities say a Russian strike in northeastern Sumy region killed one person and wounded several others. Another drone attack in Zaporizhia also wounds at least 15 people. President Donald Trump threatened to unleash his newly rebranded Department of War on Chicago in a Truth Social post. Shares AI-generated image of himself evoking the film Apocalypse Now. Church bells rang out in solidarity in the U.S. Capitol as demonstrators gather for a We Are All D.C. National March calling for an end to deployment of National Guard troops in the city. Thousands of protesters gathered near Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's residence in Jerusalem, demanding a comprehensive ceasefire in Gaza and release of hostages. British police arrested hundreds of people for demonstrating in support of Palestine Action, a pro-Palestinian group banned by the government as a terrorist organization. Hundreds of demonstrators had gathered near Parliament to protest against the ban. At least 5 have been killed after a boat capsized during a flood rescue operation in Pakistan's Multan. Floods in Pakistan's Punjab province have killed 50 people and impacted around 4 million others since August 23rd. Microsoft says its Azure cloud service is no longer facing any issues after multiple undersea fiber cuts in the Red Sea. Microsoft had earlier advised that its Azure users may experience increased latency due to the issue. Now, thousands of Israeli protesters gathered near Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's residence in Jerusalem on Saturday for a rally organized by families of hostages held in Gaza, who charged that Prime Minister was willingly sacrificing their loved ones. Now, unlike the past protests, the demonstration this time was held in Jerusalem, where protesters called for the release of hostages still held in Gaza and for an end to the war. As ceasefire talks remain in deadlock, the families of hostages have been stepping up their public campaign in recent weeks. The protest was organized after Israeli Defense Forces revealed the plan to take over Gaza City in north of the Strip, where some of the remaining 48 hostages are still believed to be held. Protesters in the rally accused Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of willingly sacrificing their loved ones in a bid to cling to power. They carried posters and banners asking the U.S. President Donald Trump to save the hostages and chanted slogans declaring Netanyahu a traitor.
And the first priority are the hostages. We have to bring them back and to end this war and to let the army to recover the duty service and most of it the reserve service. We have to let the people of this nation to breathe a little bit.
Meanwhile, mediators are set to unveil a new offer of comprehensive Gaza deal this week. The US, Qatar, and Egypt are expected this week to talk on a full Gaza ceasefire deal that brings all hostages home, ends the war, and replaces Hamas with a new administration running the Strip. According to the Khan public broadcaster, Israel has proposed to call off its planned offensive aimed at conquering Gaza City in favor of a real deal, ending the war and freeing the hostages. But no such offer is currently on the table. Netanyahu has declared that it will no longer entertain partial deals. Hamas has released a statement saying that the group is open to any deal that ends the war, along with the full Israeli withdrawal, unfettered access for aid, and other demands. And this comes as Israeli forces continue to strike Gaza after Israel issued evacuation warnings to civilians in certain areas of Gaza City. The IDF bombed a high-rise tower that it said was being used by Hamas. The IDF said the civilians were warned in advance, but Gazans denied the claim, saying they were not given enough time to evacuate.
The Israeli army called my relatives here who were at the tents, also their neighbors who flee Beit Lahia and Jabalia. They asked them to evacuate the tents because you have 15 minutes to evacuate the tents. We want to bomb the Suzy building. 15 minutes to evacuate. They couldn't get anything, not the tents, not the furniture. Now they are, and we are, in the street.
Now, following the strike, Palestinians were seen searching among the rubble. Gaza Civil Defense Agency spokesperson stated that at least 56 Palestinians had been killed by Israeli fire during the day, including 19 near an aid distribution center in the north. According to Gaza's health authorities, the death toll in Gaza has risen to 64,368 since the beginning of the Israel-Hamas conflict in October 2023. Amid the tense situation surrounding Israel's possible takeover of Gaza, the new head of the U.S. Military Central Command, Admiral Brad Cooper, concluded his first visit to Israel on Saturday. Cooper was appointed in early August to lead CENTCOM, the U.S. military command responsible for West Asia. Now, a statement released by Israeli military said that the visit focused on operational cooperation between the IDF and the U.S. military that would help in maintaining regional stability and to strengthen the joint forces to address the challenges and threats in the region. As the Israeli army ordered residents of Gaza City to move to a designated zone ahead of an anticipated ground assault, anger against Israel poured out on the streets of London and Paris. In London, the police arrested around 150 people for demonstrating in support of Palestine Action, a pro-Palestinian group banned by the UK government, while more than 1,000 people protested in Paris supporting the Palestinians. Violent clashes erupted outside Britain's parliament as police arrested dozens of protesters at a rally calling to revoke the ban on the Palestine Action Group, which is a pro-Palestine group that has been labeled a terrorist organization by the government. Now, the rally organized by campaign group Defend Our Juries drew about 1,500 people. Within minutes, police moved in, arresting demonstrators as bystanders hurled accusations, demanding officers to choose between justice and genocide. In total, more than 425 arrests were made at the London protest. Police say most were arrested for supporting the banned group, with over 24 others held for assaults on officers and public order offenses. The Metropolitan Police emphasized on social media that showing support for a proscribed organization is a criminal offense under the Terrorism Act, adding that officers will make arrests wherever such offenses are identified. More than 700 people were arrested at earlier demonstrations, with 138 charged under the Terrorism Act. The government banned Palestine action in July after activists broke into a Royal Air Force base, spraying red paint into tanker plane engines and damaging aircraft with crowbars in protest of Britain's support for Israel's offensive in Gaza. Under the prescription laws, member or public support for the group is now a criminal offense, carrying penalties of up to 14 years in prison. Now, Palestine Action has won approval from the High Court to challenge the ban, a ruling the government is seeking to overturn. The case is ongoing with a hearing scheduled for September 25th. Now, since its formation in 2020, Palestine Action has staged direct action protests across the UK, often breaking into sites owned by Israeli arms maker, Elbit Systems, and other facilities linked to the Israeli military. The group has also targeted defense companies and national infrastructure, with officials saying their actions have caused millions of pounds in damage and posed risks to national security.
One more. From this side.
A Russian strike in Ukraine's northeastern Sumy region has claimed one life and injured several others. According to the governor of Sumy region, a 9-year-old child is also among the number of people who were injured in the attack. The attack continued overnight, with nearly all of Ukraine under air raid alerts. Poland armed forces said they activated Polish and allied aircraft early on Sunday to ensure the safety of its airspace after strikes in western Ukraine near the border. The ground-based air defense and radar reconnaissance systems were brought to the highest state of readiness. Furthermore, on Friday, Russian Defense Ministry said that they seized control of 4 settlements in Ukraine's special military operations zone within the past week and had also targeted Ukrainian military industrial enterprises and airfields with high-precision weapons. Now, on the other hand, General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces claimed that Ukrainian troops had engaged in a total of 184 combat clashes with Russian forces along the front line over the past 24 hours. In another development, Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico has announced that his country will not send soldiers to Ukraine, but will instead offer logistical support to establish international security guarantees for Ukraine. Now, according to reports, European officials led by EU sanctions envoy David O'Sullivan are set to meet with U.S. officials in Washington on Monday to discuss implementing new sanctions against Russia. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova has criticized European nations and warned that they were rewriting history and heading down a dangerous path of self-destruction. She also accused European officials of sowing division among countries, peoples, and ethnic groups. Russia continues to work on a draft memorandum on a future peace treaty, defining a number of positions. Now, President Donald Trump has threatened to unleash his newly rebranded Department of War on Chicago. Trump's latest message on Chicago came via a Truth Social post that included a code and an image evoking the film Apocalypse Now. Trump wrote Chicago about to find why it's called the Department of War. The post featured an apparent AI image of Trump and the quote, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning." Both references to the 1979 film Apocalypse Now. On Friday, Trump signed an order changing the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War. The Democratic governor of Illinois, where Chicago is located, voiced outrage at Trump's post. Governor J.B. Pritzker wrote, and I'm quoting, "The President of the United States is threatening to go to war with an American city. This is not a joke. This is not normal." He added that Illinois would not be intimidated by a wannabe dictator. Trump's troop and federal agent deployments, which first began in June in Los Angeles, followed by Washington, D.C., have prompted legal challenges and protests, with critics calling them an authoritarian show of force. In addition to Chicago, he has threatened to replicate the surges in Democratic-led Baltimore and New Orleans. On Saturday, several thousand Washington, D.C. residents staged a protest demanding Trump end the deployment of National Guard troops patrolling the capital city streets. Protesters were at the We Are All D.C. march, chanting slogans denouncing Trump and carried posters. The protest was perhaps the most organized demonstration yet against Trump's federal intervention in Washington. The president justified the action last month as a way to address crime and homelessness in the city, even though city officials have noted that violent crime is lower than it was during Trump's first term in office. All right, for more on this, our correspondent Susan Teherani has sent us this report. Take a listen.
Several thousand protesters marched in Washington, D.C., demanding that President Trump withdraw National Guard troops from the city's streets. The We Are All D.C. march also featured undocumented immigrants and pro-Palestinian protesters, chanting slogans and carrying signs like "Trump must go now and free D.C." Trump cites falling crime rates to justify the measure, including 87% drop in carjackings and 45% reduction in violent crime since the federal operation began, vowing similar measures in other high-crime cities across the country. Susan Teherani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
Now, tensions between the United States and Venezuela continue to escalate. In a show of strength, the U.S. military is conducting an amphibious training exercise in Puerto Rico. The drill is part of the U.S. deployment in the Caribbean and highlights the increased military focus on Trump's so-called fight against drug trafficking from Latin America. Now, this comes after the U.S. deployed 10 F-35 fighter jets in Puerto Rico. The F-35 jets will join U.S. warships already present in the southern Caribbean as Trump steps up pressure on Maduro, whom the U.S. accuses of leading a drug cartel. During the military exercise in Puerto Rico, U.S. MQ-9 Viper drones with Hellfire missiles and an ELINT system were also on display. Tensions between the two countries soared in recent days after the Pentagon accused Venezuela of buzzing its ships in the Caribbean following a deadly U.S. strike on an alleged Venezuelan drug boat. While Trump has ruled out regime change, he has also warned that if Venezuela flies its jets over U.S. naval vessels, they will be shot down, marking a major provocation.
What happens if Venezuela flies jets over U.S. naval vessels again?
Well, I would say they're going to be in trouble. We'll let them know about that. We heard that happen, but it wasn't really over, not like they described. But I would say, General, if they do that, you have a choice of doing anything you want, okay? If they fly in a dangerous position, I would say that you can, you or your captains can make the decision as to what they want to do. All right? Sure.
However, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro had struck a conciliatory note and urged the U.S. to have a dialogue. This comes days after Maduro went on state television and called on all military reservists and more than 10 million militia members to mobilize to their local communal offices. Now, a few years ago, a U.S. jobless rate hovered at a half-a-century lows. Now, the dreaded percentage is at its highest point since 2021 and the depths of the pandemic. Consumer sentiment data shows Americans are bracing for tougher times ahead. As a result, some American businesses are looking at offers that resemble the so-called recession specials. Low-cost combos and even recession-themed parties are the flavor this season from New York to San Francisco. Now take a look at our next report for more on this.
As fears of a slowing U.S. economy linger, businesses are reviving the so-called recession specials. The phrase first gained traction during the 2008 financial crisis when restaurants in New York offered discounted meals to stay afloat. Fast forward to 2025 and the trend is resurfacing. From Brooklyn coffee shops to Manhattan bars and Bay Area burger chains, establishments are once again turning economic anxiety into value-driven offers and cultural events. Recent examples include Clever Blend in Brooklyn, offering a $6 gelato and espresso deal, and San Francisco-based Super Duper, which introduced a $10 recession combo that saves customers $5 compared to the normal pricing. The burger went viral online, attracting over 1,400 upvotes on Reddit and strong customer demand. Bars and concert venues are also capitalizing on the mood, hosting recession-themed parties that frame financial stress with humor and entertainment. Behind these promotions lie a broader shift in consumer sentiment. The University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index fell 13.7% in August compared to last year. Analysts link this pessimism to trade policy concerns, rising inflation, and expectations of weaker labor markets. According to researchers, Americans across age groups now share a gloomy outlook, bracing for higher unemployment and slower growth. These recession specials may be light-hearted, but they reflect a deeper anxiety about the direction of the economy. Business Bureau, WION World is One.
Well, as the cinematic world descends upon the historic canals of Venice for its annual film festival, the red carpet once again transformed into a dazzling runway, showcasing a spectacular array of high fashion. This year's event saw an unforgettable parade of stars, each bringing their unique style to the forefront, from classic Hollywood glamour to avant-garde statements. Now, one of the undeniable highlights was Julia Roberts, who graced the red carpet with ethereal elegance, opting for a breathtaking gown that seemed to capture the Venetian sunset. Her choice was a masterclass in sophisticated simplicity, proving that true style is timeless. George Clooney, a perennial fixture of charm, exuded his signature debonair apparel, dressed in an impeccably tailored tuxedo. He reminded everyone why he remains a benchmark for classic men's fashion on the red carpet. Emma Stone brought a fresh and vibrant energy to the proceedings. Her sartorial selection, a daring yet chic ensemble, played with texture and form, solidifying her status as a fashion-forward icon. Amanda Seyfried captivated onlookers with a gown that flowed with grace of the Venetian waters. Her choice, a delicate blend of intricate details and sweeping silhouette, was a testament to romantic glamour. Andrew Garfield delivered a lesson in contemporary cool. In traditional norms, he sported an outfit that was both sharp and effortlessly stylish, cementing his reputation as a modern leading man with impeccable taste. Adding a touch of Hollywood power and charisma, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson made a striking appearance. His choice of attire, while robust, was finely tailored and commanded attention, perfectly blending strength with sartorial finesse. Now, one of the most intriguing pairing of the evening was director Sofia Coppola alongside fashion titan Marc Jacobs. Coppola, known for her understated elegance, complemented Jacobs' signature bold and creative aesthetic. Their joint appearance was a fascinating dialogue between film and fashion, highlighting their individual yet harmonized artistic vision. This year's Venice Film Festival red carpet was more than just an entrance. It was a curated exhibition of global style where the art of cinema met the artistry of fashion in a truly spectacular fashion. Well, with that, we call a wrap to this bulletin, but don't go anywhere. Coming up, at least 63 people have died in northeastern Nigeria after suspected jihadists stormed the town of Darul Jamal. We'll get you the details on that story on the other side. Keep watching WION World is One.
Hi.
Strict, friendly and inspiring. Take a look at how cinema has depicted teachers beyond the classroom. Decode the impact of Taylor Swift's engagement announcement. And know all about celebrities' favorite vacation style staples. All this and much more with me, Diksha Bisla, on WION at these times.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest